Hello and welcome. It's a good day to be on the farm. My name is Chuck, and this is Riverview Cows, episode 23. And in the last episode, as you can see, we've pretty much mucked and covered the majority of this field with the manure that we had in the time lapse of the last episode. We got the strip at the top and covered, and we have this basically one strip left over here for us to do. So we're going to run back up to the farm real quick, scoop in maybe 2 to 3 scoops, and come back down here, finish off this field, and then start putting equipment away. As you can see, it's getting pretty dark. It was a long process to manure these fields. As you saw in the last episode, I did time lapse that whole thing and just put it to music because there wasn't really a whole lot to say about it other than, hey, we're spreading more manure. So, but did want to catch you guys up to where we're at now. Oh, going too fast around the corner there. These trees in Riverview, I tell you what, they make it hard to see where you're going. I suppose we can zoom in a little bit while we're driving up here. So now that we're done spreading the manure, we did, I believe in episode 21, buy a new seeder that is wider than what we had been seeding with before. So we sold our old seeder, and all that came from selling milk. And we did a good job. I think we had 2 full tankers of milk that we sold that generated quite a bit of cash for us, which was really nice. So we're in a pretty good position. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do next. We do basically need straw, which is why we bought the equipment that we did, so we can start planting some more fields with crops that will give us some straw. Let me just turn on a lot of lights here. So that is going to be the next thing, is planting straw probably, but I know we have to wait, and that was the mistake that I made in that episode, was I was trying to get it done before I was trying to get it done, and it's the wrong time of year to plant. I was looking at the orange, not the green, on the little chart, thinking that, oh, I can plant right now, and I couldn't. So we'll have to check the chart again tomorrow when we wake up, and just see how close we are to being ready to plant any of those things. So in the meantime, obviously we have to keep the cows fed. We did buy those calves 2 or 3 episodes ago and put them up on the hill. So those should be doing fine. We'll check on all the animals tomorrow too, as soon as we sleep, and kind of decide if that's what we want to focus on next. My guess is that we might actually need to start making more TMR, and we can either mix that in the wagon, or we can use the new baler that is available in the Go Wheel expansion. Now, if you have been watching my channel for a while, you might have noticed that I did already do a first look of that baler here on this Riverview map, just to see, because I had bales ready to go, but I didn't actually save it. So I was just playing around with it to try to see if it could work. And again, we don't have the cash on hand to buy a baler right now, but we could certainly either take out a loan or sell some of these fields we have in excess, or something along those lines. How much manure is that? I think that will be enough. I don't want to leave this loaded with manure for a while. Let me just apologize for that camera angle. I'm just trying to see how close we are to the ground. We're going to set that down here, and then back this off. Yeah, 39%. Hopefully that will be about right for spreading what we have left. Again, it's so dark. I hate starting the episode in the dark like this, but this is just the time of day it is, and to get the growth stage correct. Actually, we haven't planted that yet. There is no growth stage there. Okay, you know what? Yeah, let's just park this here. So we've loaded the manure in the dark, which I guess is what it is, but I don't actually have to spread it right now, because we don't have anything planted. So let me, I just need something to drive up the hill with. So I'm going to take this up here to our house, we'll go ahead and just sleep, and then we can do that in the morning so that it's a little bit easier to see. That is the one thing I don't like, this farmhouse. I mean, I'm glad that we have a farmhouse, and I'm glad that it's out of the way. But basically, in order to use it, I have to drive up here. I have to walk up here in the dark, which I don't want to do. So we're just going to go ahead and skip to the next month now. There's really no reason that we shouldn't or that we can't. So we're going to get this out of the way so that it'll be morning. We lost $1,800 in property maintenance, which is fine. And we're also, once we know that we're done with the manure, we're going to go ahead and spray down all this equipment because we don't want our equipment to become, I don't know, is stained the right word? We don't, I'm pretty sure that manure and dirt are very caustic, and the grime that we have on here now can actually do quite a bit of damage to our equipment if we left it on there. Again, paint damage, not maintenance damage, but you know, no sense in doing that either. So let's get this down here. We'll see how close we are to completing the spreading on the field. We'll come back up here, take a look at the equipment, possibly head down to the store, get a baler, and or decide if there's something better for us to do. And we'll look at all the charts and talk about it together. So we have manured this field 13 to the left. That was the first one we did. We've manured this one to the right, all except this last little bit. And you know what? I'm just going to cut through the hedges here. So we the last thing that we did was came along this row and kind of tried to give it a headland until we ran out right about here. So let's just see how much we can get done. So we'll start our spread here. And then hopefully this is just one strip. Yeah, this is close enough. So we'll just get this done. We're down to 30%. I think we might be about right. The 2.5 scoops. I don't know how to measure this. The amount of liters that we put into our manure spreader before we embarked on this task have resulted in us having the right amount to complete this field. So let me flip over to this map here and look at our fertilization state. Yeah, so this is our second stage of fertilization here, which is the same for 15 and 16. We've only got one stage on 13, and 14 is cultivated, but that's about it. So yeah, if we're going to buy that thing that lets us do bales of TMR, the Go Wheel Vero, I believe it was. All right, so that is, we're down to 4%. Did we miss? Let me go back to the fertilization. Is there any spot that we missed terribly that we want to go spread this last 4% on? I guess there's right here on field 19. And we're already down here. So let's give it a shot. These little wing tips, or whatever you want to call them, on the end of the field were just where I turned it off manually in the spreading. I don't think that's worth firing it up just to try to cover those up. That gap might be, but let's see what it actually looks like up here. Oh, and it looks like we did cover that with manure. We missed it on the first fertilization stage. So yeah, I guess we're going to come down here and we'll just start spreading something like this to try to get this here and see if we can get this covered. Well, that's all she wrote, and that is all we're going to do, because that is a lot of manure that we just spread. I'd have to go back and count. Maybe one of you knows from recently watching the videos in order. It's been a couple of weeks since I recorded on Riverview, so I'm just going off memory, but I think that we did 8 or 9 full loads, maybe more, to get those fields covered. And I know when we started, we had, what was it, 200,000 liters of manure? Maybe that's the better way to check. Where is our manure? We're down to 159,000 liters. And I think we had 280 to 290,000 liters when we started. Oh, I was going to spray this off. All right, so anyway, again, manure was free fertilizer that the cows have produced for us, so we might as well have went and used it. But again, I think I mentioned this in the last video. If I didn't, I meant to, or at least 2 videos ago, was that you actually make more money if you just sell it at a biogas plant and then buy regular fertilizer. Just the solid fertilizer or even the liquid, but I'm pretty sure the solid for sure. So that is kind of our focus here, was just trying to be a little more realistic, a little more authentic, and spread that like the farmer would. He wouldn't turn around and sell that manure and then go back and buy fertilizer with it. That's just sort of taking advantage of what the game offers you as options. Oh, that looks way better indeed. Okay, so let's back out of here and park this up. We're not going to need this again for a little while. Where did I put it? Before, I think it was up here somewhere. Yeah, I think it was in this, not the one with the harvester, but this one over here. So anyway, that's what we're going to do, is try to be a little bit more authentic and realistic. But man, that was a lot of loads of fertilizer, or excuse me, manure to use as fertilizer. So I think we might either consider a bigger fertilizer spreader next time, and or I don't know. We'll talk about it when we get there. So let's take a look at, here's our mixing wagon if we wanted to mix some TMR. And I still do want to wash off that front loader. So let's take a look first though. These are all silage now and have been for a little while. In fact, those are the last ones we did. We should probably start unloading over here. All silage as well, just to kind of first in, first out. And then we've got one grass bale, which we can wrap if we ever decide we want to start wrapping again. So let's take a look at what we have. A ton of slurry as well. We may need to figure out what we want to do with that. We can sell it to the biogas plant if we can get a tanker for it. And then we still have solid fertilizer in the tank. So we've kind of got a lot of options there. But straw, we have 100,000. Milk, 12,000. Seeds. A little bit of canola, a little bit of sorghum. Okay. Let's take a look at our animals, see how they're doing. So we're in our milk producing cow barn. I guess they're the same size, and this one has 239 or 238, and this one has 240. But these are all calves that are literally not very old. Their health is 69%, their puberty is 5%, productivity is 100%. They got 76,000 liters of hay, and yeah, I mean, it's in the red, but it's still 76,000 liters, so they're doing fine. Up here, we've got 64,000 liters, but we're ready to start putting TMR in for these because these can produce milk. And let's see, these cows are halfway, 50% reproduction, so they're halfway to producing new calves. These are as well, so we should have another 120 calves added to this barn shortly. And then these are the ones that are not quite to puberty yet. We bought, but they're doing good. But again, 100% productivity. Starting to run a little low on straw. 54,000, still doing okay. Whoops. And you were 46 thousand. Yeah, so I think TMR is the next best bet. So we have a couple of different options for getting there. We can just start mixing it in the mixing wagon manually and dumping it in there, which is probably what we'll start with to be sure. But then we can also maybe look at that go wheel. Do I have it? Let me just see if I don't even know if I have that installed right now. Go wheel. I don't have it installed, so we will get to that momentarily. All right, so let's grab the Valtra here. And I guess the first step anyway is going to be just to feed those cows and do some TMR mixing. And then, you know, I'll let you guys chime in and let me know what you think about the TMR, whether it's worth getting that bale wrapper that lets you, am I backing up to the right thing? I am. Yeah. There's a bale wrapper in the Go Wheel expansion. There's two of them, but either one would work fine. That lets you do bales of TMR. So we could essentially produce round bales of TMR, much like you may have saw in my first look video that I did actually here on the Riverview farm. And then we can store those bales. And what the nice thing is, right now we have, I don't know, 30 bales of silage there. We clearly have well over 30 bales of hay, considering these out here and this in here, and then all that straw that we have as well. Sorry, I was going to spray this off. But on the console, we have a bale limit, and that's kind of what we're running into a little bit. We haven't quite hit it here, but we're going to get close. And essentially, we're storing 3 bales at a time in order to make our TMR, our silage, our straw, and our hay. And while that works, and we can do it, I'm not necessarily going to audit it right now, but we've got well over 100 bales sitting around in various places on the yard. And if we started, like, we have to basically keep these separate. So it takes 3 different types of bales stored to make the TMR. So let me just look at these two. So this is a 7,200 liters of hay. So, I mean, this is almost 14,500 liters. And this stores, let me see. Animals, where are you at? This stores 24,000 liters. So we have to do our mixing and get it to roughly half. So let's start last in, last out. So this is the last ones that we wrapped, so we need to start over here. So we're going to start uncovering some silage bales. 6,000. So this would be 12 plus 14 to be 24. So if we just did straight up 2 and 2, that would get us pretty close to the 24,000 and make us some TMR. Now you can put straw in to help offset the ratio as kind of filler, but to be honest, we just kind of really need our straw right now for bedding to produce the manure and the slurry for our for the cows, because so 612. Let me see if we can do this under here. Gonna have to get fancy with the camera for a second. Sorry. Focusing. So yeah, let's see if this brings us up to about 50%. Yeah, so it's exactly 50%. So this first batch, essentially we'll put 2 hay bales in, and that second hay bale is going to basically not get chewed up at first. It's just going to sit on top because these are 7,500 liters, so 14,000 would obviously take us. Oh, it's even going to be worse than that. So yeah, this is where like my bales are not quite the right size for this. I could put in 7,000 liters of hay and then put in some straw, but we need straw for bedding, and straw is actually what we have the least of right now. So let's just see what happens. We're not going to mess up TMR just because we have lots of straw. So I'm gonna jump out here, and we're getting TMR mixed. I'm gonna have to turn on the help window so I can see the ratio. Pardon me. So yeah, we're 50%, 50%, no straw, no mineral feed, but that's fine. So I believe if we dump this, on which side are we dumping on? The right. Okay, that's correct. So we're gonna pull in here and dump this, and I believe we will be left with 2,500 liters of straw when we're done. That it's going to chew up here at the end, or maybe it chews it up as it's going. So that's dumping in there. So anyway, my point was being, oh, it just used all that straw. Or did it dump that hay in as well? I don't know. Weird. I thought we were going to have some leftovers. Basically, if I do 1 and 1 and 1, the straw bales are too big, and that causes problems in my mix. So we kind of have to figure that out. So let's do this again. But anyway, basically, as you're seeing, it's going to take multiple bales to make the TMR, and if we stored it as TMR that was already mixed, then we'd only be storing 1 bale type instead of storing 3 bale types, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the advantage to that Go Wheel baler, but I don't have it installed right now, apparently. And I believe it costs like $250,000 to $300,000 for the baler, depending on which one we get. So they're not cheap, I guess is my point. So we have to decide, is that worth it to process all the bales using that baler, or is it better just to store the bales as we are now? Because our mix is also a little bit off. I thought we were going to have leftovers. So let's see, 612. So let's just throw 1 hay in this time, and then see about adding some straw and just kind of see what we get. So let me just get back down here. Should be taking those off the top, but oh well. Also just trying to clear out this space so we can store our bales in the shed going forward. And the goal is to keep it at least 1/3 of hay, 1/3 of silage. So that's 7,500 liters. Oh, there's a little window. So this is mixing, and right now the ratio is off. Okay, the ratio is good now because we're 34, 35, 36, 37%, and 62%. So we can add straw as long as it doesn't take that 37 down to under 30%, I believe. So since we're just having fun and testing out the capabilities, let's just take a look. Let me just... So these is all the straw we have left. Granted, it's still quite a bit, but it won't last because it's also got to be bedding. And luckily the cows don't use the bedding quite as much or quite as quickly. So this is 9,000 liters. So if we drop this whole thing in, that's going to cause problems for our mix, because that would overtake the amount of hay that we have in there. So and then we would get forage, which we don't want. So let me see if I can put this in here in a way that starts it. Yeah, so if I tilt it down, we can do 7,000, 6,000, 5,000. Let's stop at 4. Okay. Where are we at? So 17% is still acceptable, but as you can see, we're kind of getting up there, and now we're down to 31%. So I wonder if we can do 25. So let me just do a little bit more. So 4,000, 4,200. Oh, we're full. 4,250. Okay. So 4,250, is that half of 9,000? No, but it's close. 4,500 would have been. So this is full now? Is that what we're saying? Yeah. So here's our 24,000 liters. So there we go. If we basically go 2 silage, 1 hay, and half a straw, that's technically a better mix for us. And now that the straw I have left is less than half a bale, I can just drop that in first, grab my 2 silage, grab my 1 hay, and I should be right at, instead of 24,000, I should be 23,050. I want to say. Let me just, we'll check my mental math here, and that'll probably wrap up the end of the episode, actually, because this all takes a while to kind of figure out and just to talk through and to get everything set up. So not a terribly exciting episode, but this is like, if you want to see cows, which is what this map is all about for us, is just how many cows can we possibly manage. This is a big part of it. So we're going to start with the straw, which is going to make this forage. Let's take them off of here just to give us a little bit more room for driving. And that way our storage is kind of backed up a little bit. And again, we could unwrap and stack all these, but I don't really see the point in that. We actually probably need to do more silage in a coming episode, just because of how that is coming together. So 1, 2. Does make me nervous to start with the straw, because this means no matter what I throw in next, I'm suddenly going to be making forage, not silage, until we get the mix right. And if I can't get the mix right, then we have to dump this whole thing out and start over, which is always a pain. So yeah, look, now that we have those in, we're in the red, but it's technically forage because we don't have any hay. So let's take this and grab some hay. So anyway, I am curious what you guys think about whether or not it'd be smarter or just better for our farm in general, because of the console bale limit of 200 bales, to store TMR that's already mixed, so that we don't run into a problem where we've got too many bales of one type or another and no way to store them or create them because the mix is off. So, because they'll already be pre-mixed. So we could do, I mean, I could probably do 10 episodes in a row of just creating TMR and baling it. Not that I would want to do that or that you guys would want to watch that, but that would be kind of the like, it would make sense as a farm to kind of do that, but maybe it's better to just keep on what we're doing now because it seems to be working. Let me just put these hooks down and park this thing up. And let's see. So yeah, we're 23,500 liters. And we've got a nice mix. 30.9% of hay, 51.1% of silage, and 18.1% of straw. So I like that. Half a bale of straw, 2 silage, and 1 hay seems to be the right mix for this size of mixing wagon. And it got us to 97% on the third load, so we're not really losing out that much by doing it this way. And then we will check the stats of the cows here in a second. These are obviously our milk producers because they're mature enough to do that. And they're also the ones that are going to be making us new baby calves in the future because of their reproduction ability. So, all right, so that has been loaded. Let's just take a look at this and see where we're at. So now we have TMR of 71,000, 64,000 backup of hay, still have 53,000 liters of straw, 13,000 liters of milk ready to go, and that 419,000 liters of slurry. So I guess that brings me to my last question, which is, what do we do with all that slurry? We could get a slurry spreader and use that as our second fertilization state on those couple of fields that need that, if that's something that we want to do, or we could start selling it to the biogas plant as well, just to get some quick cash. Again, we're down to $5,000 now, but we're going to have another milk truck ready in a month or two. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I just like talking through these things with you guys so you can hear kind of where my thought process is and what I'm planning on doing next. Again, I love that we used, I want to say, at least half the manure that we had. This thing was kind of leaking out the front, and we used a lot of the manure and we use it as fertilizer, which saved us money as fertilizer. And see, and it's August. When can we plant? That's the last thing. We need wheat or barley. And so, yeah, we can plant wheat or barley in September. Technically, we could plant canola now, but again, canola is not going to give us the straw that we need. So next month, we'll start planting wheat or barley or both on a lot of those fields that we've prepped. And then we need to decide what we want to do on field. Now I forget the field number. So yeah, 19, 16 wheat and barley, 14 and 13 are open for suggestions. I'd probably do barley on 13 as well. 14 is our giant field. We just purchased, we've just cultivated it and fertilized it once. It's kind of ready to go, but I don't know what we want to do with it. So if we were to buy that baler, we would sell field 14 to do it, most likely. So if we don't buy the baler, then we can keep 14 and plant wheat or barley on there as well. So those are kind of the options. Please reach out to me in the comments and let me know kind of what you'd like to see. Oh, look, all this deer hanging around the manure pit. Yeah, please not call me. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see us do. We will probably have another episode before we start planting of either wrapping up, making more TMR bales, or just making TMR in general and loading up the TMR just to get some bales out of here and our management. And then we will start planting in September. So hope you guys liked it. Catch you guys in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.